Hello and welcome to A Wheel Thing TV. I'm Dave Knoll. In this week's episode we're checking out the Lexus. It's the GS 450H, that's the top of the range, and it's a hybrid power pack. The GS 450H from Lexus. Rather unusual styling, but in profile I genuinely have to say it's a very pretty car. It's a lovely looking car. Even the front end, in all honesty, isn't all that frightening once you've got used to it. But as I say, as we move into profile, you can see it's quite a long car. It's just under 4.9 metres in length. And in this particular shade of grey, it really does suit the Leith curves that the car has, 19-inch rims on it. It really is a very pretty car to look at. Around the back, the typical LED tail lights that we see in most cars nowadays. And really a very, very futuristic kind of styling in this particular vehicle. The GS 450H has a rather unusual dash in that if you were to look at it as we are now, it looks just like any normal dash, except when you twirl the little dial that's in the center console, you get this little change of display, and it actually does light up in red when the car is underway. Out on the main screen, which is not a touch screen by the way, it's all operated via this little jog dial down there, and as you can see it's quite simple to move. We'll just come up here to that particular button. It takes you through to the main menu, and from there you can choose pretty much anything that you want to do. So let's say climate, and then you've got your various controls in there, and you can change it into 3 zones, so it's driver, passenger and rear seats. Go across to here, we've got also the choice of the various options in there. It's a very handy, very intuitive and surprisingly simple thing to use. It even comes with a little armrest, and also on the back we get, yes that's right, the little sun blind. A very simple yet classy interior for the 450H. Head-up display fitted to the vehicle. You've got the dashboard here that changes colour as we saw earlier. Really is just quite a classy look. It's not overdone like so many other products around, and certainly with that little jog dial with the armrest in the middle, really just suits it all. And of course you've got your electric seats, multi-adjustable situation here. Everything just works and works simply. It's fantastic. Typical Toyota / Lexus information screen for the dash as well, using the little jog dial that's on the right hand side of the steering wheel. As you can see, again, all very simple, very intuitive, and a delight to use. In all honesty, it's been a fantastic car to have in the garage, because it's just all been so simple to use, and certainly a whole lot of fun to drive as well. Under the bonnet we've got Toyota's 3.5 litre V6, and of course the electric system. All up there's over 620 Newton meters of torque and around 350 kilowatts of total power. Although a great car to drive, the GS isn't without a couple of quirks. For example, the sat-nav has one of these systems where it will tell you that a school zone is coming up. The problem is it'll tell you that there's a school zone coming up regardless of what day and what time of day it is. Here in New South Wales, where A Wheel Thing is based, our school zones are between 8 and 9:30 a.m. and from around 2 p.m. to 3:30 or 4 p.m. Outside of those times, you'd expect that the system would know or be programmed or tie in with GPS or whatever the case might be, not to tell you, because it does a bing bong warning, school zone coming up, and then bing bong once you're close to it. If it's at 3:30 in the morning, really don't think that's necessary. The Lexus GS 450H has 3 different drive modes. There's Eco, self-explanatory, Normal, self-explanatory, and Sport, again, self-explanatory. But the way that they change the handling package, the way that the engines work together, is quite interesting. Eco, it just feels like everything slows down. There's no real sort of level of excitement in the way that the car drives. Normal picks it up a little bit. Sports really takes it to a whole complete different level. And there's just something magical about the way that the engines interact with the drive system and the driver. Even the car feels like it's more hunkered down, a little bit more sporty, as you'd expect by that very name. But what it really does is just allow the car to bring a lot of torque into the driving equation. We're talking over 600 Newton meters of torque. What that allows you to do is overtake safely, just so much quicker, so much more fucked. There's 3 different driving modes inside the GS 450H. What you have is normal, sport, and eco. Normal is the default mode, and it's selected for the other 2 versions via the little dial in the center of the console. And what that really does when you go to sport is, apart from changing one of the dials, is it makes the car feel as if it's hunkering down. You've got a sense of absolute liveliness underneath you. I really don't know what I'm trying to say. 3, 2. Being a hybrid car, the GS 450H has a petrol engine, an electric engine. They combine together when the computers tell the engines to combine together. With the drive modes that the car has, we have eco, very self-explanatory. Everything just seems to slow down, and basically, you know, you don't feel as if you're really rushing the car all that hard. You've got normal, which is everyday driving, and you've got sport, which really brings the car alive. It actually makes the car feel as if you're sitting just a little bit closer to the road. The 2 engines combined to be almost one package as such. It allows you to accelerate very quickly. Overtaking becomes an absolute doddle. Makes driving a whole lot more safer, to be perfectly blunt. And the steering just feels as if it tightens up a little bit as well. So it becomes more of a sporting car. In all honesty, I'd match this against many V8 powered cars out on the road, especially when you're in a freeway drive, you're doing about 100 k's an hour and you need to get past somebody quickly. It'll get up to license losing speeds very, very quickly, and do it with one very important thing in mind, and that of course is the safety factor. It is just a brilliant car to drive in that respect, absolutely no worries, and certainly with the ability that this car has, that's possibly one reason why you're paying $127,000, which is just a load of shit, Dave. That's fucked. If you want to make this car come alive, select sports mode. Eco and normal, well, eco just really slows everything down. The suspension feels like it's wallowing all over the top of it. Normal tightens it up a little bit, but it still feels as if it's moving around a fair bit, especially when you get the up and down sections of a highway or a long flat road, for example. Sport puts the 2 engines together, really opens the whole thing up. You've got over 600 Newton meters of torque to play with the combination of the petrol engine and the electric motor coming together. The steering feels as if it tightens up. The suspension feels as if it tightens up as well. Makes acceleration and overtaking particularly just so much more safer. You don't need to worry about whether you've got the grunt and the ability to do it. And just by sitting along at freeway speeds at about 100, you know that you've got more than ample time to get past the slower car and get yourself back where you need to be. It's a brilliant combination, and so very, very well done. The Lexus GS 450H is priced from around $127,500. Around $20,000 of that are government charges, which says a lot about the way that our motorists in this country are being just a little bit ripped off, shall we say. It's a fantastic car regardless though. You've got plenty of technology to play with. It's very comfortable to drive, and it's certainly a whole lot of fun, and it really is, believe it or not, one of the prettiest cars around, especially with the grey that this particular car has. Do I like it? Absolutely. Would I have one? Absolutely. Thank you Toyota, thank you Lexus. For all the details, head to lexus.com.au. And for A World Thing TV, I'm Dave Knoll.